coverage of the Eastern Maine tournament continues now with the boys' Class B semifinal game between the Ellsworth Eagles and the Dexter Tigers. Now let's join Bob Leahy, Joe Gould, and Bill McManus.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Joe Gould along with Bob Leahy as they get ready to do basketball battle Class B today, Robert. And we have two very fine ball clubs, the number 2 Dexter team and the number 3 Ellsworth Eagles.
Joe, it's not going to take us long to get right into the frying pan, into the fire, because we got Ellsworth and Dexter going at each other in the semifinals of boys Class B here this afternoon at the auditorium before a fine turnout of fans from both communities, each hollering across the hall, "We want you, Dexter, we want you, Ellsworth." And it's a rematch exactly a year to the day when Dexter went on to the state finals to be nipped by Lake Region, Joe, at the buzzer. We all remember that game. But Orono's got Ellsworth has got a chance today to revenge that loss last year, avenge that loss, I should say, last year to Dexter here in the semifinals. We look for, I think, a couple of things right off the top. I think Ellsworth wants to up-tempo the game. They want to get into transition. They want to fast break Dexter as much as they can. And I think, on the other hand, Dexter, not quite having the talent overall that they did last year, will try to want to slow the game down. They want to stay out of foul trouble. They want to play their zone real tough and play a little man-to-man, mix it up. Ed Gerstie's a great one for setting goals for his team. To not commit very many fouls in a basketball game. And we know Ellsworth, and they played against Mount Desert the other night, got in deep foul trouble early in the game, but had enough depth to pull out that 78-64 quarterfinal win over Mount Desert.
And with that, let's go down to Bill McManus.
Thank you all very much, and I have Coach Peter Gavitt from the University of Maine at Orono. Peter, thank you for coming down at halftime. We're ruined right off the bat, Joe, because Peter's standing up on the floor, so this year I've shrunk about 2 inches before I made him step down. Peter, how's the season going at the University of Maine?
Well, we're struggling a little bit right now, Bill, with some injuries, but we've had a great year. I'm very pleased with the entire season. A lot of firsts for the University of Maine. Of course, it's an all-Maine team, which I'm very proud of. Ran off our first 18 games in a row. Nationally ranked in the top 30, the top-ranked team in New England for a few weeks. It's been a great experience. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, we came down with a rash of injuries. 2 starting guards, Kissy Walker and Sonia Wedge, got hurt and were out. One of my real good freshmen, Sue Howard, had missed the entire season, never played in a game, and she's a very fine player. Liz Coffin rolled an ankle over and struggled for 4 or 5 games. Lori Gott's in a cast now that we take off just to play in the games and put back on. So it's been a rough year. I'm disappointed we haven't done better simply because of the injuries, but that's something you can't plan on. And despite the fact, you know, of the injuries and illness we've had, with just Kissy Walker being the only senior, things look very bright for Maine basketball in the future, certainly.
Peter, you made a good comment. You said you had mostly Maine kids. We talked about that before you come on the air. Your comparison, Maine girl basketball players compared to the rest of New England.
Well, first of all, everybody on my team is from Maine, and it could remain that way from year to year. I think the thing that's pleased me as much as any is Maine has some outstanding high school players. Unfortunately, in the past years, the better players have felt they've had to go out of state to compete at the Division I level and to compete successfully. We've proven last year and this year that we can compete with any of the Division I teams in New England. Hopefully within a year or so we'll compete nationally as well. And I don't think the Maine players should ever shortchange themselves and think that just because they're from Maine somehow they're inferior. That just isn't true in any sport, boys or girls. And the high school coaching we get here in the state, the summer camps we have, the players can compete just as well, if not better than any of the players and the teams we face in New England. And I think it's about time people in Maine started to feel proud of what they have here, and I'm very proud to be associated with it and to be able to coach an all-Maine team. it's exciting. I grew up in Maine, played at Orono, went to the University of Maine, and there's a little extra pride for me involved too, and it does my soul well, certainly, to see the success that we've had.
Peter, I appreciate you coming down here and talk to us. I know I'm going to be able to talk to you later on in the week here at the auditorium during some night games, but best of luck to you, and thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Between here and Augusta and another week in Portland, it's been kind of hectic watching all the games, but it's been fun. Tournament week's great, and we'll be finishing up in a couple of weeks, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much, Peter. Joe?
Thank you very much, Bill. It's Peter Gavitt, the very fine basketball coach, University of Maine women, who's run into a rash of injuries, as he mentioned, but doing very well. I think we ought to set the scene as we see it now as far as the floor is concerned. Some people may ask what is written, what is down there. This is where the Maine Windjammers, the Central Continental Basketball Association team plays. And Bill McManus is going to find out from me later, but it's very interesting about the jump spot where we see the blue in the middle, then the orange with the blue on the outside. And we're trying to find out where you would be illegal if you stepped in the white or the blue. Bill is going to find this out from Pete Webb. Also, another thing we will be watching closely is the indicator at the table. There's a backup indicator and an indicator. It used to be called the windicator when it was used down here at the tournaments to indicate how many fouls on each individual. Why don't you take a rundown, Bob, on the Class B semifinals?
Okay, we're going to look if you see our graphics on the screen now, boys. Class B semifinals in the one playing 8, Holton emerged victorious over Madomic Valley in double or triple overtime, 71-68. Dexter got here by defeating number 7 Camden Rockport. Dexter, the 2nd seed, 54-41. Ellsworth, the 3rd seed, beat Mount Desert Island 78-64 with the right to face Dexter here this afternoon. And tonight at 8:30, Bucksport Rockland will take on the Holton Shiretowners as they defeated Bucksport 58-46 in the quarterfinal round. That sets the stage for this afternoon's Ellsworth and Dexter game and tonight's Holton and Rockland game. Joe, go ahead, back to the floor.
Okay, and then they have had at times, it's very difficult. I think in the course of the quarterfinals, you watch it very closely, and you have to be very careful of changing the arrows to who will have the next possession of basketball when there's a jump ball. The only time, of course, that you would have a jump ball is the beginning of the game and any overtime periods. So everything else is the alternating possession. Also this year, they have decided to introduce all the players and the coaches and the managers, which I think is a good idea as well. So some things have changed here at the auditorium, but MPVN hasn't changed. We're here. We're going to be doing it all. And I think this is going to be, as you mentioned at the top of the show, Bob, I think you're going to see a very fine basketball game, but you may see a lot of fouls.
Right, Joe. And I want to make one further point. Maybe our camera sometime can pick it up, but underneath each basket, under the foul lane, the length of the foul lane, there's an orange line, and that orange line is inbounds, okay, not out of bounds. Peter Webb and I talked about that the other day at one of the games, and he had wished that the people who painted the floor could have put that line out of bounds. It's kind of deceiving, and it'll come into play when we see some foul shots and maybe some of our replays. And with that, Joe, we'll be back in just a moment.
Broadcast of the Eastern Maine semifinals and finals on MPVN is made possible by grants from Union Trust Company, part of the Down East tradition since 1887. Husson College. Tomorrow's leaders are at Husson today. N.H. Bragg & Sons, distributors of automotive parts and industrial supplies. The Bangor Daily News, the main choice. And Mr. Paperback, with 15 bookstores statewide.
Yes, Joe, there's the line that we alluded to right there in the middle of your picture, and it crosses the length of the foul area, the foul lane area, and that the orange part is inbounds, not out of bounds. Now we go to courtside with Norris Nickerson, assistant principal of Bangor High School, who will make the introductions of the starting lineups and the remaining team members, as Joe mentioned.
Number 24, Tim Scott. Number 22, Scott Fox. Number 25, Leon David. Number 10, Alex Forney. Now the remainder of the Ellsworth team. Number 15, Jeff Smith. Number 14, Jimmy Springer. Number 23, Troy Adams. Number 11, Rob Davis. Number 21, Chris Bowersfield. Number 13, Rick Johnson. Number 30, Russ Torrey. And number 12, Troy Brown. Managers for Ellsworth are Corey Bagley, Tom King, Sean Reed, Jason Statler, and Kevin Crawford. Coach for Ellsworth is Bruce Lindbergh. For the home team, Dexter High School. First, the starters, number 10, Chris Bailey. Number 12, Steve Bell. Number 20, Marty Keaveney. Number 32, Mike Haines. Number 34, Marc Haines. Now the remainder of the team, number 14, Tom McKinney. Number 40, Kevin Edgecombe. Number 52, Rick Robichaud. Number 22, Chris Terrio. Number 24, Chris Tremblay. Number 30, Jeff Barola. Number 42, Kevin Williams. Number 44, Eric Conway. Number 50, Steve Haynes. Number 54, Bob Fanjoy. Managers for Dexter are Brian Sawtell and John Greaves. Coach for Dexter is Ed Gursky. The officials for this afternoon's ball game are Mr. Shaw and Mr. Lyons.
I might mention when talking to Ed Gursky before the game, I asked about Steve Bell, who injured his ankle in the Camden Rockport game. He has it heavily taped, and he's about 80 or 90% right now, so that may be a factor because he's such a fine outside shooter, so we'll have to watch that as we go.
Excellent point, because I was concerned about Bell because I thought he turned that over pretty good in that game, and Ed did mention that he did have it heavily taped.
So the starters for both sides out there will jump the ball.
Joe, you might want to mention Roger Shaw from Mars Hill and Rick Lyons from Presque Isle. Two Aroostook County officials are doing this game for two Central Maine or Eastern Maine teams.
Lyon David for Ellsworth will jump center against Bell, and Ellsworth controls the tip. So the Ellsworth Eagles and the Dexter Tigers. Dexter Tigers, the Eastern Maine champions a year ago. Inside to Tim Scott. His shot missed. Rebound by Haynes. Off to Bailey of Dexter as he starts down the left side. Bell, right side, Keaveney. Keaveney looks at the top, goes to Bell as Ellsworth in his zone. As they start to play catch on the right side, goes to Bailey in the baseline corner. And quickly the first foul of the game is called, and that's against number 22, Scott Fox.
Right away, the Ellsworth Eagles force the ball into the corner and then go right in after it and trap the ball. That's what Bruce Lindbergh likes to do out of that 2-3 zone. That gives the defense just another pressure tactic, which certainly falls in line with Ellsworth's game plan. There it is again.
Bell now outside of Keaveney, way out the top. It goes to Bailey as they exchange. Steve Bell working on that left ankle. It's about 80-90%. Bailey, ball flipped away, taken back by Bell. Bell starts the lane. Bell takes the pop off the lip, no good. Gets a rebound. The one bounce, he's up and puts it up and in. They call it the traveling.
He lost his balance going down the lane and fumbled the ball, and it was called for the traveling violation, but we did see some penetration that time by Bell. Here's a replay. Just saw the end of it there, and you saw his second step as he was traveling. Dexter Joe started out with a man-to-man early, and now they're going about three-quarter court. Another thing we're seeing for the first time in the auditorium is streamers coming down from the fans, white and red for Dexter.
Well, it was red from that side, so it must have been the Dexter people. Tim Scott, this is the son of Jack Scott. Back pass into David. It's overthrown. Company comes off with Dexter. He gets off to the right side. Bell inside goes to Marc Haines. Marc Haines through his legs on a bounce pass. Now back inside. And there's going to be another foul call. And this is exactly what we both alluded to, that Ellsworth is quick. They slap, and the officials have got to really be on the ball to watch this.
And they're not wasting any time getting into those pressure defenses, and they've been called for 2 quick fouls, both on the same play.
Bell's pass goes way outside to Keaveny. Marty Keaveny looks to the right side, gives it to Bailey. Bailey at the top to Bell as the Eagles stay in that tight zone with David in the middle. Now it comes over to Bailey, top to Bell. Looking to try to get it inside. The two Haines boys, this will be Mike. Back outside it goes to Bell. Mike Connor goes to Keaveny. Keaveny with a pop shot. It's off, no good. Gets his own rebound, goes back. Damage down.
Nice play by Keaveny as he followed his shot off the baseline and came up with a little left-hander in the lane. Make it 2-0 Dexter.
Alex Forney now off to Taylor behind the back. Now he stops. Dexter known for their very tenacious man-to-man defense. Scoop pass goes in the middle, and they're going to call it travel on Ellsworth. Darren Taylor.
Darren Taylor lost control of the ball, went to the floor, and the traveling violation was called. Dexter, the last 2 or 3 times, Joe, down on defense, have done an excellent job against Ellsworth's potent offense. They're doing a good job inside on Lion David and also outside on Taylor and Scott.
Troy Adams comes in for Ellsworth, the first substitute of the game. Bell, left side to Mike Haines, cross-court pass to Bailey. Outside pop is no good. Rebound high by Bell. Well, if that ankle was bothering, he really got off the ground then. Now he comes out as the quarterback. Matter of fact, he was the quarterback, wasn't he, of the football team, the state championship.
Excellent defensive back.
Now Keaveny inside. The ball's knocked away. Those quick hands. Forney comes out with it. They're going to be a foul call.
Ellsworth wanted to run. Alex Forney came bouncing out of there with a basketball, looking for the break, and Keaveny, I believe, got him on the foul. It'll be Ellsworth's ball in the backcourt.
As David will put in play, comes off to Tim Scott. Got it by Marc Haines. The two Haines boys, as you probably realize, signed a letter of intent to play football at University of Maine. Forney shot is off the front, no good. Bailey of Dexter starts down with it to the left side. Coming in, looks inside to Mike Haines. He puts it up and he draws the foul.
Darren Taylor looks like in there on the foul. Nice penetration pass into the post area. Here it comes. This is down at the other end. That's where Forney took the shot. And here comes Bailey down the left-hand side. Penetrates the ball in, looking inside to Mike Haines. A good strong move to the basket, and there's the foul by Taylor. Excellent play. They're going right at the teeth of that zone that Ellsworth is putting up there, and it's proving to pay off. There's 3 team fouls already on Ellsworth, and we got 5:16 to go in the first period.
2-0 the score as Dexter leads. First shot by Haines is missed. The second one is made. Mike Haines, so it's 3-0 score as the pressure is put on the backcourt by Dexter. Lion David with it. Tries to get a pass in. Pass deflected by Mike Haines. Picked off by Bell. And Bailey comes back. So Dexter at this point playing very, very well. A lot of people thought that the Eagles may give them a hard time, but they're playing very good control ball. As another attempted steal by Taylor. And inside is Keaveny. Comes back outside to Bailey. Fakes it now to Bell. Off to Mike Haines. Now calling to Keaveny. Keaveny has the ball knocked away. He turns. And there's going to be a foul call, and the Ellsworth Eagles now will pick up their 4th team foul with 4:44 left in first quarter action.
So they're starting out the same way that they did against Mount Desert, getting in extremely deep foul trouble here early. Forney is replaced in the lineup by number 15 for Ellsworth, and that's Jeff Smith as he comes into the game.
So Forney goes out, Smith comes in. Bell fakes a shot, splits 2 men, and David is there to knock the ball away. Good defensive play by Lion, I'm sorry. He prefers to be called Lion David, even though it's spelled L-E-O-N. Tim Scott, nice lead pass, was inside of David, knocked away by Haines. Scott going to go for the hole, he puts it in.
Great drive by Timmy Scott as he saw an opening down the lane and just went to daylight and just laid it over the front rim. But before that, there was an excellent defensive play by Mike Haines on Lion David on the post pass entry.
As Bell brings down left side to Bailey of Dexter. Dexter leading by a score of 3-2. First quarter action here in the semifinal B of the Bangor Auditorium. Joe Gould along with Bob Leahy. Pass is knocked off the knees of Marc Haines, but it gets back outside to Dexter. Now Bell holds over his head to Bailey. Bailey at the top. The left side goes to Mike Haines. Mike looks inside. Good penetration in the ball. By Bailey. A lot of patience on the offense.
Excellent patience that time, and they got the ball over to Bailey on the wing, and the back man in the zone could not get out in time, and Bailey drilled that 15-footer.
Tim Scott puts it off his foot and out of bounds. As that tight defense, I don't think I'd want to be guarded by either of the Haines. I think they would make you feel something each inch of the way.
Both excellent athletes and very, very strong and very, very aggressive. What I see now, though, with Ellsworth, they're not very patient on offense. They just want to go to the basket with reckless abandon, and they're not setting up their offense at all.
And the other side, Dexter is setting it up. Kevany now starts that way in, looks around, gives it outside to Bell. Bell of Dexter turns, bounce pass goes to Mike Haines. Little skip pass across to Bailey, goes on a nice double pump.
Excellent double pump as he went under David and Taylor in there and made the hoop. 7-2. Dexter off to a good start, and I'm sure Ed Gersty wanted to do that against Ellsworth to slow down that machine.
And there's a foul inside away from the ball. Looks like Marc Haines let his presence known.
And Bruce Lindbergh calls a timeout for Ellsworth, and the official's been talking to Lion David here on a couple of occasions.
And he's had to talk to Darren Taylor as well. Both type of kids that likes to mix it up.
One thing we ought to note right here, Joe, we said at the top of the show that Ellsworth is an up-tempo team, and they like to play in transition. And what Dexter has done is be very, very deliberate on offense and play good, sound, half-court man-to-man defense. That slows that game down. Ellsworth scores an awful lot of points off steals and rebounds, and Dexter's not giving them that opportunity with 3:03 left to go in the first period.
Last year, the Dexter Tigers beat Van Buren in just a great display of offense and defense as far as 5 men concerned. As one of the fans across the way using the opportunity to get the wave going for this red sea across from us.
Both you and I mentioned last year, too, that Dexter was the consummate team. They really had no stars, but they, as 5 individuals working in a team concept, they were excellent. And they've got 3 of those players back, the 2 Haines boys and Bell. Bailey came off the bench, I believe, last year, as did Kevany. They played a lot, but...
Smith fakes the shot as Mike Haines comes out after him. It appears now that the Lion David pop shot is missed, taken off by Mike Haines. Off the Bell of Dexter. Dexter leading 7-2 here, first quarter action. Now to Bell, right side to Kevany. As they have not substituted yet, the Dexter team. Left side, skip pass, goes nicely to Bailey. His long shot off the lid, no good. Rebound taken off by David. And David turns. Both Haines were hanging around.
Good strong rebound by Lion David, though.
As a shot by Tim Scott, no good. Ball tipped up, and there's going to be a foul call underneath, and this is going to be on Kevany and Dexter.
Kevany was in position to rebound, and thought that should have been a foul over the top, but 2 officials saw it differently, and Ellsworth's going to get the ball. Darren Taylor will put it in play.
He's outside to Tim Scott. Tim starts to take the lane off to Smith. The right hand pop off the lid, no good. Rebound strong by Mike Haines. Off Dexter, off to Bell. Bell starts down the right side, still in the gallop, turns. Looks for help. Still looks for help. Finally gets it to Bailey. Top Kevany as they switch positions to get it loaded up here to try to get their offense going. Marc Haines in the lane, right in a pop off the lid, no good. Rebound strong that time by Tim Scott. Long pass coming down to Taylor. Taylor turns in the lane. Taylor's going to go. He goes through a crowd, follows the shot up and in.
Right, there was contact.
Lion David is down, and he got hit in the face, and he is hurt. And the officials alertly stopped the game at this point.
Right, Rick Lyon stopped the game. There was no advantage by Dexter that time as David went down. Looks like he's holding on to his right knee there.
I think in the course of the game, excuse me, Bob, we ought to try to figure out how many player control fouls are going to be, because Taylor had no... he was going for the hole, and that was it.
There was contact there. Bell, I thought, had stood his ground. Taylor went over the top of him, but there was no call on the play. And David, in the ensuing action, was hit and went to the floor and is being administered to underneath the basket by Wes Jordan, the head trainer at the University of Maine at Orono, and Bruce Lindbergh, his coach. There we see a picture of the Ellsworth team. Interesting to note here, too, that Bruce Lindbergh didn't hesitate early on in the game, with only about 2 minutes to go, Alex Forney, who was a high scorer against MDI, I think put in 21 points. He's gone to the bench, and he hasn't been back in the game. So Coach Lindbergh, looking for his depth, comes in with Smith, and also Scott Fox is in the game.
1:48 remaining in the first quarter action as Lion David is up. Also, Dexter has not made a substitute yet, Bob. And they have Kevin Edgecombe, a junior.
Here's the play right here. Excuse me, Joe. There's the play right there. And Taylor did not score on the first shot. He scored on the rebound, and that's when David went down. And he, as we saw him limping off the court before the replay, he was limping on his left side. It looked like maybe the upper thigh or maybe ankle on his the left side. So we'll have to watch that. That reduces the rebounding strength of Ellsworth immensely.
So as the Ellsworth Eagles start to go on defense, Forney is getting ready to come back in the game. Bell, right side, Kevany. Dexter is not substituted in this first quarter. They do have some people that come off that bench that can help them, though. Now it goes to Marc Haines. Marc Haines' turn. I think this is the type of game that the Haines boys like. It's going to be close, and it's going to be rugged. As Bell with the ball, right side, goes to Kevany. Now in the middle. Haines starts to drive, gives it up. Nice to Bailey. Double pop up, no good, but he draws the foul. And Forney comes back in the game for Ellsworth.
Instead of attacking Ellsworth's zone from the wing, here's a replay right there, and there he goes up and he's fouled, and he's going to the foul line. But to get back to my point, instead of attacking the ball in the corner where Ellsworth traps, they've been going to the high post and then into the low post directly, and that's something to watch. They evidently know that Ellsworth's going to trap them in the corner as Bailey makes the first shot of 2, and they have changed their tactics and gone to the low post, high post, low post game. And Lion David comes back in, limping, however, for Ellsworth.
As Chris Bailey will get ready for his second shot. He made the first one, 8-4 the score. That shot is up, it's off the lid, no good. Strong rebound by Tim Scott. He dribbles out as Haines comes down with him, Mike. Marc Haines is on Scott, and to this point has been very successful in shutting him out. Darren Taylor's long outside bomb, and he hits. And that's what Ellsworth can do.
And here we are, 8-6 with 54 seconds left to go in the first period, and it appears that Dexter is outplaying Ellsworth, and Ellsworth creeps back into the game, only down 2.
Right side, Kevany in the middle goes to Marc Haines. Haines back outside in the bounce pass, knocked away by Scott, picked up by David. David starts down. David's going to go for the hole. He puts it up, and he draws the player control foul.
There is a collision. There is a collision right there. Lion David and Mike Haines, number 32. Mike stood his ground. We may catch it on the replay if we have it, but that was a tremendous collision, and the player control foul called on Lion David his first. But Mike Haines stood his ground. There was some contact there, Joe.
As Kevin Edgecombe for Dexter comes in the game, he's got an excellent outside shot. So keep your eye on number 40, who has the ball right now. Bell outside with 23 seconds left. Ellsworth, Dexter is content now to let the clock run down for the last shot. They're way out deep. Edgecombe, right side to Bailey. Bailey now to Bell. One bounce pass left side goes to Edgecombe. 7 seconds remaining now. Bailey's going to split. He's going to go for the scoop shot up around. It's no good. Take up and in. No good by Mike Haines at the buzzer. And the shot by Edgecombe is only academic. And with that score, 8-6 in favor of the Ellsworth Eagles. Dexter Tigers will be back after this message.
Mean to those of us who live here? Cold temperatures, lots of snow, darkness in the late afternoon. One warm spot in the long winter months is the high school basketball tournament that you're watching right now. You can show your appreciation to MPBN and help make future telecasts possible by writing a check to MPBN and sending it to Basketball, Box 1986, Bangor, Maine 04401. That address again is Basketball, MPBN, Box 1986, Bangor, Maine 04401 1986.
You're watching school basketball tournament action on the stations of the Maine Public Broadcasting Network, a service of the University of Maine.
Back here at the Bangor Auditorium, the score is 8-6. Dexter leading in a very fine first quarter, kind of like a heavyweight championship fight in the first round. Both teams trying to find out where weaknesses are. And at this point, there's not really too much to say differently of either team. Only the fact is that Ellsworth team fouls are 5 and Dexter's is 3. But Edgecombe, there's the first jump shot. It's no good, but he has an excellent side shot, so be aware of that as the game progresses.
Ellsworth had to be pleased with that defense that forced Edgecombe way out in the corner for his shot.
And the travel foul called on Tim Scott.
Timmy Scott trying to pick up, having Marc Haines go up in the air on the head and shoulder fake, but drags his pivot foot and is called for the violation.
Both officials are right on top of this play. They're going to have to be, and I think that they have talked to both sides. A little more to Ellsworth and wanting the ball passed to them, and as you saw, Scott just threw the ball to the other official across the floor. I don't think that was too pleasing when the ball was going to be taken out on this side. Now it goes to Edgecombe. There's Edgecombe's pop. No good. Rebound taken off strong underneath. There's going to be a foul call. And there you saw Scott Fox come off the rebound, Bob, and just threw it blindly down the floor.
Right, and Dexter, on a couple of occasions when Ellsworth has gotten a defensive rebound, they have had 2 people attack the rebounder. The reason for that is to prevent the outlet pass and the fast break for Ellsworth. They don't want Ellsworth to hurry in the transition game, so they keep a couple people back in order to try to slow that team down and pester the outlet pass.
Taylor with the ball behind the back. Edgecombe is guarding him. Excuse me, as Dexter is in a man-to-man. Lead pass goes inside to David. David's shot is missed, and there's going to be a foul call underneath. This is on Darren Taylor. On Fox, as Fox runs away, and the official quickly over.
Nice
right
lob
now, the officials have the game under control.
Yes, they do. Nice lob pass that time by Scott, but the weak side help came over for Dexter and gave him tremendous help and forced David to miss the shot. And on the rebound, Fox, I believe, fouled Mike Haines, and Mike is going to the line.
That's the 3rd foul on Fox, and coming in for him is Troy Adams, their #1 substitute. Also, another very fine basketball player is Jim Springer. He's usually the 2nd sub off the bench for Ellsworth, but he hasn't seen action as yet, as Mike Haines makes the first foul shot for Dexter, and it's 9-6 with 6:55 remaining in 2nd quarter action. And for a Wednesday afternoon, an excellent crowd on hand for this B game. Second shot missed, taken off by Scott. Behind the back now, he starts to gallop down. And the ball knocked away nicely by Daly. Off to Edgecombe. Edgecombe's going to go down to the corner and stop and hold up. Marc Haines of Dexter with the ball. Spin turns, and the ball kicked out of bounds by Tim Scott.
Marc Haines thought he saw an opening to the basket on the reverse dribble, and it was kicked out of bounds off of Dickie Scott's knee. Dexter retains possession.
Dexter, Haines boys, they fill in very fine with this concept by Ed Gursky of team basketball. Edgecombe, he's had 2 shots, he's missed both, but he does have a good eye. The pass goes inside, knocked away, and they're going to find a foul. It's going to be on Scott. Scott was on the floor when Haines got the ball.
Tough call that time. I think Timmy fell down and was rolling inside. Here's a replay right here. Watch number 24. There's the ball outside. Keep our eye on number 24 coming back out to Bell on the top, and there he falls down, and he falls into Mike Haines.
It was a kind of a tough call to make, as Ellsworth will substitute with Jim Springer now after Haines shot.
I think the point that should be made, though, there was contact, and it did disrupt Mike Haines, and Timmy goes out with 2 fouls. A little frustrated that time.
And against Mount Desert in the quarterfinals, Darren Taylor and Timmy Scott had foul trouble, and they're in foul trouble again. 11-6 to score. Dexter leading as Forney with the ball for Ellsworth. Starts down with Bailey right in his shirt. Goes in the corner to Springer. Back outside to Forney. Now back to Springer at the baseline, looking inside and away from the play. There's going to be another foul call. And the officials are very, very alert, because we alluded to this early. This was the type of game it was going to be.
Here it was, away from the ball, and number 20, Darren Taylor, is caught with a push-off on the rebounding action, and we go the other way to shoot foul shots. 6-14, and Dexter's been shooting 1-on-1 for a long time, Joe.
Don't you think that Ellsworth is actually playing right into Dexter's hand by muscling this early?
Right, because Dexter's in control of the game right now, no question.
And they certainly have 2 of the hardest hitting fullbacks in the history of their team. There's a hand Springer can pick the team up. Nice shot from the baseline. And that makes the score 11-8 with 6:01 remaining in first half action.
Ellsworth changed into a full court press, 2-2-1 variety.
Broken up, but Bailey's there to save for Dexter as he starts the right side. Steve Bell, number 12, working on that left ankle, 80-90%, but playing well so far. Goes to Edgecombe. Edgecombe out the wing now. Goes to Bell, stops, looks around, bounce pass to Mike Haines, goes to lane. Nice bounce pass to his brother Mike, and he puts it in.
Excellent play. There's that high-low post action where the ball comes from the point into the high post, and then the bottom man along the baseline slides behind the defense to receive the pass for the layup. Excellent play and excellent execution by Dexter.
Comes outside, way out to Forney now. Fake by Taylor. Taylor going back. Edgecombe's with him. Taylor starts to go, and they're going to call it player control. And that's going to be a tee coming up. There it is. And there was no doubt about that one. The tee is on Darren Taylor. And he drew the player control foul.
Here it is, Joe, right here. Look at him now. He's got the ball. Now watch him crossover dribble. Here he comes, and there goes Mike Haines. Steps into traffic, picks up the offensive foul, and boom, and there goes the ball.
How high to go?
It must have been 30 feet. It's still a technical if it was 10 feet or 30. I think Darren was a little frustrated. He got cut off inside and went to the baseline, and there was Mike Haines.
And there's Mike again. He misses the foul shot, but Dexter will get the ball out at midcourt. And evidently a timeout had been called. As I mentioned again about the alternating possessions on jump ball, there's a backup indicator which is on the table, and there is an indicator that rises above. So on this side, you can see the possession down on the table, so you have an indication. I think the only time they have messed up on this is when the half is over. There it is right there. So you can see that when the jump ball takes place again, that Ellsworth will have the ball pointing toward Ellsworth's basket.
There is a person in charge of that indicator, but we also might add that the official scorer keeps a little chart in front of him in the scorebook, and every time there is a possession change, he marks it down and then tells the timer, and then he changes the possession out. It really has helped the girls' game possession indicator, I believe, with the held ball. Speeds up the game.
Excuse me, Jeff Parola now in the game. Is this the son of the football coach? Is that
John Parola?
John
Correct.
Parola. This is Jeff. He's a senior. Another very fine substitute for this Dexter team. So with Edgecombe and Parola in there now, Bell will be the man at the top. To Parola. Bounce pass goes to Edgecombe. Now goes to baseline. Parola's shot is off, no good. Rebound tipped around, and it's going to come off to Adams of the Ellsworth Eagles, as Ellsworth trails by a score of 13-8 in first quarter action.
Want to make a point here because Ellsworth has a very small team on the court right now, and that might disrupt their defense.
Jeff Forney in a float, and let's see if they call a foul. I think this is going to be on Parola. It seemed like Ellsworth, they come down one time, Bob, a lot of structure to it, and the next time they come down, it's helter skelter, and this is what they got to prevent because they're going to get into a war with Dexter, who is controlling the game at this point.
The man-to-man has really disrupted them because Dexter has played excellent man-to-man, and their positioning has been good. So has their rebounding.
Forney had 21 points in the game against now the quarterfinals. Misses the foul shot as Tim Scott comes back in. Springer leaves. Parola comes out, and Bailey comes in for Dexter.
Right, and for Ellsworth now, that puts Scott back on the back line in the 2-3 zone with David and Adams, and that gives them a little bit more size. With Springer in there, they were very, very small.
Forney's foul shot is made, 13-9, as a full court pressure. Bell, now off to Bailey, still in the backcourt, 10 seconds to get it in. Out to Edgecombe. Edgecombe's going to take it in himself. Nice ball control. Inside to Haines. In the middle, it goes to Edgecombe. Ball knocked away. Bailey follows in the lane, puts it up and in.
Great follow by Chris Bailey as he was standing on the foul line, saw the open rebound and went after it and laid it back in.
Jeff Smith with the ball on the baseline. Going to take the baseline off the clock. No good. Rebound by David, up and in.
That's what they need, some offensive rebounding, and Lion David provided at that time, and there's the 2-2-1 press. It's kind of a token press. It's to keep Dexter off guard and off balance. Use a little bit of that clock.
Marc Haines with the ball. Bell off to Bailey. Bailey has it on the wing now. Looking, it goes in the corner. Well, he faked to Edgecombe, goes back on the top. Now to Bailey looking around. The two Haines boys working on the left side. Marc has it now, turns, goes right in the lane, gonna take the right hand of Pop and puts it in. Beautiful.
Great play again. They're attacking that zone right up the middle. Marc Haines makes the 15-footer.
Smith comes back to the basket to answer for Ellsworth, 17-13.
This is the kind of game Ellsworth likes, the up-tempo game, and they've had 2 transition baskets, or a follow-up rebound off a transition.
Bell way out deep now. 3:22 in second quarter action. Marc Haines. Inside goes to Mike. Mike turns on David, puts it up. It's no good. Lyon gets it, and he's going to be called for fouling. A player control foul.
There's what we mentioned earlier, the idea of Dexter surrounding the defensive rebounder. Here it comes right here. There's the shot. There's Marc Haines with the basketball. He's going to pass it back out. We're going to get an entry pass right here. Here it comes. There's Mike. Goes up with a shot. Watch the rebound now. Here's the rebound. Now watch Dexter surround him to prevent the outlet pass, and he gets a little frustrated, swings his elbow, and gets called for the foul.
Dexter in play now with Bell at the top. Right side, Bailey. In the middle goes to Marc Haines. Marc Haines, one-hander is in.
Marc had his brother open on the baseline again, but decided to take the 12-footer and drilled it.
So I think at one time there was some suspect about the Haines boys shooting, but certainly not in this game. Nice delivery that time by Marc Haines. Smith back, and there's going to be a foul call on Bailey.
What we're seeing now with Ellsworth is they're trying to open up the floor in their offensive end. They're taking the ball to the basket every opportunity they get. And this young man right here, Jeff Smith, has been responsible for most of that because he's been able to beat the press, the man-to-man, and been able to take the ball to the basket. David got an offensive rebound, and now he's going to the foul line.
Smith's shot is up. Pretty much Dexter's been able to control Lyon David and Tim Scott, who are in there now. Barney has not really been a factor as he's been kind of hampered as well. And then you've got Taylor and Fox on the bench with in foul trouble. Second shot by Smith is up and good. So Smith has kept the Ellsworth Ball Club close. 19-15 the score in first half action here at the Bangor Auditorium Class B semifinals. Kevaney back in the game now for the Dexter Tigers. Right side, it goes to Kevaney at the top. Now to Bell, their quarterback. Marc Haines starts to turn. Ball's knocked away and almost taken by Forney, but he loses out of bounds.
The quick hands of Forney almost came up with that steal, but it just went off his fingertips and couldn't reach it, and Dexter retains possession.
Off to Bailey, right side, Kevaney. Now in corner goes to Bell. Bell fakes, nice bounce pass inside to Marc Haines. Marc's shot no good. Rebound by Scott. And a foul called on Mike Haines. So the Haines boys make you feel it either way.
They intimidate you, whether or not it's on defense or offense. And that time Mike went for the offensive rebound and came up with a foul. Great position by Timmy Scott as he was on the weak side and pulled down the rebound. 19-15, Joe, and it's not really a blowout either way, although Dexter looks like they're in complete control of the game. Ellsworth is scrapping and staying in it. Now they're in the 1-and-1, and Timmy Scott is going to the foul line with 2:22 left in the first half.
Scott, only a sophomore. The shot is up and cleanly through. Lyon David, only a sophomore, so Ellsworth will be heard from the next couple of years with these two fine players. Timmy Scott's second shot is no good. Rebound strong by Edgecombe, the cutoff man. Got in front of the foul shooter, got the rebound. And it goes off to Bell. Bell starts down the right side, bounce pass inside, knocked away by Ellsworth. Troy Adams in the game, and now we see the first big man coming in for this Dexter team. And this will be Rick Robichaud. And coming out will be one of the Haines as soon as he turns around.
I think it's Mark, isn't it?
32, Mike.
Mike, sorry.
That's from all that experience from last year. Good thing they kept the same numbers this year. 2 minutes left in first half action. Dexter leading 19-16. Robichaud turns on David and puts it in.
Great post pass. Robichaud turned right into Lyon David, went right over the top of him for the little shot in the lane.
Forney coming down, stop the foul line. Adams, he starts to drift in. Rebound taken by David, and he is fouled underneath by Marc Haines.
Good strong rebound by Lyon David as the shot was shot of the basket. He went right after it. Here it comes right here. Here comes Forney down the left side. There's the pass. Now watch this young man goes up, and he's shot on the shot. Here comes David, across the baseline, goes up, and there's the foul by Mr. Marc Haines.
Marc Haines over on the other side, lines up across from Robichaud. As the Dexter Tigers fundamentally, basically sound. Each year Ed Gilsey brings teams in. You can look at them and you can see that team concept that's so important to basketball. And Leon David misses his first foul shot. 21-16, a 5-point lead by Dexter with 1:43 here in the second period of action. Second shot is up and cleanly through as they put the pressure in the backcourt. Dexter has not had any problems with his press as they're patient. Pass goes in the middle to Marc Haines, off to Edgecombe. Edgecombe down, stops now, back outside to Bell, and Bell wants to set things up. He's way out deep now. Off to Bailey. Looking up now with the clock saying 122, or reading 122. And they may be satisfied to hold the ball until that last shot.
They're holding it. They want Ellsworth to come out of that 2-3 zone. There you can see Forney and Smith out on top, but Dexter being very, very disciplined with a minute now to go in the first half. Now they attack the zone.
Bailey with the ball on the left side. Now he moves over to the right wing as Bell moves over with him and gives him the ball. Edgecombe in the corner on the baseline. And the two post people, Robichaud, then Marc Haines. Marc has the ball as he comes up. Ball tipped away by Smith. Smith's going to go. Bell's there. Knocked away. And Smith has kept them in the game.
He really has. He's had an excellent second quarter, a good first half, but an excellent second quarter of basketball.
Bailey with the ball. Now over the 10-second stripe. 29 seconds remaining in first half action. So the freeze kind of backfired as a steal by Smith inside to Robichaud. He turns. Ball's knocked away. Bell follows. No good. David is fouled by Robichaud.
Right, there's the tactic again by Dexter to try to prevent the outlet pass, but they're called on the foul. It looked like Robichaud over the top of David. Nice strong rebound by David.
As Springer comes back in the game for Ellsworth with 18 seconds remaining. And Tim Scott, I think it's a good play right here, so Scott won't pick a foul up.
Excellent coaching tactic by Bruce Lindbergh here to take Timmy out of the game so he doesn't pick up a bad foul, cheap foul with 18 seconds to go in a half.
Leon David, 21-19 the score. Dexter leading, a chance to tie here. The pop is up off the front of the lip, but it's taken away by Smith. He turns, double pop, no good. Rebound strong by Robichaud. Edgecombe's all alone, going right down the middle, puts it up and in.
Right, poor Alex Forney made the wrong decision, and he went for the outlet man at half court, and Edgecombe went in for the layup.
1 second, and let's see, 0. I think the gun did go off, but there may be some time remaining, or is there a foul?
I heard the gun. I thought I heard the gun. There is a foul on Bailey. Tough play right there because both kids were hustling for the basketball, and Bailey got his hands on it, but when he went to the floor, he tripped up Forney, and Forney's going to go to the line with no seconds shown on the clock.
I think Gursky's point is he's trying to say to the officials the gun had gone off, and it's academic anyway. Well, he gets 2. Why does he get 2? It's a 1-on-1. He wants to know why. Now, this could be a correctable error right here. Why is he getting 2 shots? Second shot up, he misses both, but why did he get them?
He can't get 2 shots.
No, there's no way he should have had 2 shots on that. That was a 1-on-1 all the way, and with that, Robert will be back in just a moment.
Broadcast of the Eastern Maine semifinals and finals on MPBN is made possible by grants from R.H. Foster Incorporated, with locations in Lisbon, Machias, and Hamden. Casco Northern Bank, always thinking of ways to help you. Your friends at Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company of Bangor. Machias Savings Bank, the total service bank of Sunrise County. And Ken and Bev Tate's Strawberry Farm in East Corinth.
Okay, we're back here at the auditorium. We're going to try to find out why that was a 2-shot foul there at the end of the first half as Forney went to the line and they gave him 2 shots. It couldn't have been 1-on-1 because he missed the first one, and we'll have to try to get an interpretation on that. And if we could, let's go down to Bill McManus right now on the floor. He may have an answer. Billy?
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. I just counted the officials as they were leaving the floor, and Roger Shaw said they just made a mistake. They would have corrected it, so they would have been all set with it. He just made a mistake and then assumed it was a 2-shot in the confusion there. If he'd have made the second one, it would have been a correctable error, and they would have been all right. No harm. Bob?
Very good, Bill. Thank you for that interpretation and clarification. Bill McManus down on the floor for our crew here. I want to make a couple of comments, Joe, about the first half. We have 23-19 in favor of Dexter. And I'm going to make a statement down that might sound confusing and ambiguous, but I think both teams kind of played the way they like to play. Dexter was kind of in charge of the game. However, Ellsworth made a little run at him there at the end and kind of got into their flow and their game plan. Ellsworth, the type of team, when you play a transition team, they score in spurts. And they score off steals and they score off rebounds. Toward the end of the second quarter, Ellsworth seemed to be doing that with more regularity. Dexter, on the other hand, had a tremendous game plan going in, have executed it to a T. They're ahead 23-19. And by that, we mean playing good, solid defense in the half court and taking control of the game in the front court.
I think it was a good point made by Bill McManus, as we did have a correctable error. The argument I think Gursky was trying to force, the issue first was the gun had gone off prior to the foul. He did not win that argument. Then when the two-shot foul came up, he was quite excited. It was a correctable error. In other words, if Forney had made the second shot, it would not have counted.
Right, and Roger Shaw was talking to Ed Gursky, the coach of Dexter, just as they were heading out of the auditorium at halftime, and Ed did not seem to be too upset, and so he probably told him what Bill McManus told us. And now let's go down on the floor to Bill McManus, who has an interview. It looks like Rusty Clukey, the principal of Hermon High School.
Bob, thank you very much. It is Rusty Clukey, the principal of Hermon High School. Rusty, I want to thank you for coming on at halftime with us. Bob probably remembers, and so doesn't Joe, that Rusty was a former coach at Dover Foxcroft Academy, and we've asked some coaches, Rusty, what they think of the new bench decorum rule. It does not involve you, but in your days of coaching, Rusty, again, my officiating days when I was refereeing for you, you were known as a hopper, a guy that would get up and down. What do you think of it now, Rusty?
I think the rule would have made me a lot better coach. The biggest problem that I had in coaching was during the game keeping myself under control. Thought I did a good job with the kids, but I had a little problem myself. I think that would have really helped me a lot.
So you'd be in favor of keeping it in? That wouldn't cause any problems? Do you think it would change, Rusty, as far as your attitude or your approach to the game? Do you have to become like more of a practice coach than a game coach?
No, not really. I think that you do most of your coaching in practice anyway, but in talking to some of the coaches, in particular Ed Gursky, Ed says it's made him a more relaxed coach, that he can now sit and enjoy the game and watch the game a little bit better and make some real strategic moves now that he couldn't make before because he got so wound up and getting up and down. And
that's interesting. That's a fine point. I hadn't heard that. Most of the coaches have complained about it, but I think that's like anything new, Rusty. It's just going to take a little time to get used to it.
Right, I agree. I like the rule. I think it's a good rule.
Rusty, you're here because you have a little contact with Dexter High School. You played for Dexter. You were at one time the assistant principal athletic director at Dexter. Rusty, we were talking about the students, the athletes that Dexter has. What makes them so good?
The kids that they have, they're going through a real good cycle right now. We went through some lean years there, had good kids. They weren't big, strong kids. The kids we got now, that they've got now up to Dexter, they're big, strong kids. They're not only good students, but they're good athletes, but they're good students too. And I think that combination has really made them, all of their athletic programs real strong right now.
I talked to Bruce Lindbergh before the game, and the comment he gave Ed Gursky's teams, he said that the Dexter boys are real good athletes, and that probably has a carryover. They had a successful football season.
They sure do, and their football season was good, but they also had a real good soccer season. They've got a real good weight program up there, as you can see by the way some of the boys are built, and I think that little bit of strength that they've added to themselves has really brought their program along too.
Rusty, quick question for you. Miss coaching?
Yes, I miss coaching, but not as much as I thought I would.
How's administration work? That's something new, and a lot of coaches go into it.
I really like administration. It's given me probably a little more to do a lot of times than I can handle, but I enjoy it very much. It's given me a chance to make some changes that I've always wanted to make in education.
Well, Rusty, I heard an awful lot of good comments from people around Hermon. They're very pleased with you as being the principal, and I want to thank you for coming on at halftime.
Thank you very much.
Bob.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Bill. We'd like to right now go over the individual scoring for the first half. For Ellsworth, Alex Forney ended up with a single point. Darren Taylor had 4 and was in foul trouble. Timmy Scott ended up with 3. Lion David had 3. Jimmy Spencer had 2, and Jeff Smith had 6 points, and he came off the bench in the second quarter to give Ellsworth a nice lift. They scored 19 points in the first half of play. Over on the Dexter side, Chris Bailey ended up with 7. Mike Haines had 4, and Mark had 6. Marty Keaveney had 2. Kevin Edgecombe had 2, and Rick Robichaud came off the bench to score 2 points for their total of 23. Those are strictly unofficial, and now if we look at the graphics on our screen, we can see that Ellsworth was 7 for 17 for 41% in the first half, and Dexter was 9 for 27 for 33%. In the free throw department, Ellsworth went to the line 12 times, made 5 for 41%. Dexter was 50%, 5 out of 10 in the first half, and the turnovers were 3 for Ellsworth and 1 for Dexter. And with that, we will take a momentary break.
You know, the young men and women who are participating in this basketball tournament have spent a great deal of time getting ready for these games. So, too, have the men and women of MPBN. You know, we've been planning and preparing to bring you this coverage again this year as we have in the past, the coverage that you enjoy so much. Help to make these telecasts possible for the future. Give us a hand, as you have in the past, by making out a check for $30 or more and sending it to Basketball, MPBN, Box 1986, Bangor, Maine, 04401, 1986.
Here we are back at the auditorium. Minute and 30 to go in the halftime proceedings here. Ellsworth and Dexter both back on the court, as you can see. Both been with their respective coaches for the halftime preparation. Joe, I think that Dexter would like to try to do the same things that they did in the first half. They control the tempo of the game, they control the defensive and offensive end, and they executed their game plan to perfection. I think Ellsworth would like to up the tempo, get into a transition game, look for them to change up their defense a little bit more to keep Dexter off guard, maybe even look for them to go to a man-to-man here in the sometime during the second half in order to get their transition game rolling.
It was certainly the star of the first half for Ellsworth with Jeff Smith because of the foul trouble that Ellsworth was in. They've got to get those frontline people back in. They've got to get them to play a little more structured offense and not the helter-skelter down the middle, whoever's there, I'm going to take you out attitude, because you saw Taylor in his frustration have a very key technical call on him. And I think if he gets one down the end of the line in the fourth period late, that could be very costly for this Ellsworth team.
The strategy of an up-tempo team and a team like Ellsworth is to get everybody in an open court situation and take the ball to the basket. Dexter has denied them that opportunity, and therefore we've seen frustration by Darren Taylor. We've also seen frustration by Lion David inside, because every time they turn around and go to the basket, there's a Dexter player on defense, and they've tried to overcome that and be a little bit more patient with their offense here in the second half. We'll watch for that.
As they start their first 5 again, Forney, Taylor, Fox, Scott, and David. We had very limited jump balls in that first half. Very clean game, except for the fouling by Ellsworth. Pass to David. He's in the paint. He turns, and the ball goes out of bounds, and they say it's off Lion David.
Good no call that time. There was contact, and Lion David went up with a shot, lost control of it, went out of bounds. Dexter with 7:54 in the third period.
Dexter stays in their zone. Now double teaming inside on Marc Haines. Popped by Bell. Outside shot, no good. Rebound there by David, knocked away. And there's that tenacity by Marc Haines.
Did that look
loose
like a
ball?
Football? Did that look like a football?
Loose ball on the 5-yard line. He stripped him clean. At the top is Bell. Now Keaveney inside to Bailey. Nice move by Bailey. No good. Tip up, no good. Rebound taken off by Scott. Ball knocked away, kicked off, and finally picked up by Bailey. Bailey throws the ball in the backcourt finally to Marc Haines. Has a little helter-skelter here as the Dexter Tigers control. Keaveney back at top to Bell. Inside to Marc Haines. Rims, no good. Rebound by Bailey. Bailey goes to lane, and Bailey is hammered. Right across the face by David, but he traveled before that.
Rick Lyons had a traveling call on Bailey as he went into the lane, but he did get hammered by Lion David. Here it comes right here. There's Bell with the ball coming into the forecourt. Makes a bounce pass to the right wing. Now he comes back, and here goes Mike Haines up with a shot. He misses. It's tipped around. Here comes Bailey, and there was the hack by David, and there was the travel by Bailey. Now we're back to live action in the forecourt.
Box outside shot dropped, put off the front lip, and just popped in. 23-21 the score. Has full court pressure, and a steal by Forney of Ellsworth. As that time it paid off. Coming right down is Taylor. Taylor puts it up. No good. Rebound taken off by Kevaney. Off to Bell. Pass goes to Mike Haines, as they slow down. And try to slow this tempo down as Ellsworth headed upbeat there for a couple of plays. Inside goes to Mike Haines, and a turnaround glass shot goes through.
Great bank shot, but a great spin move by Mike Haines in the lane. Went right around David. That last time, Ellsworth went into a 2-2-1 full court press, but they really were in front of their men, and they really upped the tempo with that.
As David shot, no good. Tap goes out. Scott goes after it, and then let's see what's going to be Ellsworth ball knocked out by Dexter. 25-21 the score. 6:04 in third quarter action here at the Bangor Auditorium.
There's Bruce Lindbergh coaching from the bench.
Scott shot is quick.
Good one-handed set shot.
Very quick. 25-23. 5:54 remaining. In the backcourt is Bell. Bell in the middle. Mike Haines off to Bailey. Bailey's going to go. Bailey's off the glass and in. Nice shot.
Chris Bailey has done an excellent job against that Ellsworth pressure, taking the ball to the basket. He sees daylight.
Forney starts up off the glass, and there's going to be a foul call. I believe this time maybe on Bailey. 1-0 on Bailey.
You're right. On Bailey, on Forney on the drive. That was a nice penetration move by Alex Forney. And Bailey got him from the side.
That's the second personal foul on Bailey. As Forney will go to the line. Forney had that good first game against Mount Desert, but is being hampered somewhat with a good defense put up by this Dexter team. Forney's foul shot is up and off again.
Bob Ewers can recall in the first half, Ellsworth used that same press, a 2-2-1, but it was very passive. What they wanted to do was just sort of keep Dexter back in the backcourt, and if they threw a bad pass or made a turnover, they would take advantage of it. Now they've really upped the tighten the screws a little bit.
Forney missed the 2 foul shots as he did just before the half. Mike Haines,
very unselfish, nice look, and there was Kevaney standing there for the layup.
I think there was some interesting comments by Rusty Clukey on this, harnessing the coaches at their chair. But we've seen in this tournament in quarterfinals the coaches getting up and up and up and up. So we'll have to wonder if they are going to put it into effect. Shot missed. Marc Haines rebound. Bell comes down with it. Bell bounce pass goes to Mike Haines. Takes the fake off the glass. No good. Rebound by David underneath as he pushes Bell out. Gives him an extra elbow as Taylor goes back down, and a great defensive play that time by Kevaney.
Kevaney came out of nowhere as Darren Taylor went up for the layup. Darren should have taken one more dribble, and I think he would have had a clear, uncontested layup, but he elected to pull the ball up halfway down the lane and got blocked from behind by Kevaney. Excellent defensive play, a sign of never giving up.
Scott shot, no good. Rebound, and a foul is going to be called on, this time, Mike Haines.
Now, when Mike threw the ball down and caught it, I thought he felt that the foul was on Scott, that Fox on that time. He has 3 personal fouls now, does Mike Haines, and Ed Gursky's got to take another look. He has Edgecombe on the bench, who played in the first half.
Dexter with a 6-point lead, 29-23. Kim Scott looking inside, cross courts it now. And a shot long by Fox, in and out, rebound by Bell. Bell is a guard, but a good rebounding guard. He comes down with it. The Bailey to the glass, up and no good. Rebound hammered around. Still loose. Still scribbed away. Picked up by Kevaney. He turns. Kevaney in the lane. Kevaney's pop is up. It's no good. Rebound by Forney. As Ellsworth comes out of the pack. Forney loses the ball. Turns. The ball's knocked away. It's down the floor. It's going to go out of bounds. And see how they call that one. That looked like a football game right there.
Ed Gursky is upset. He was up halfway out of his chair. There was a lot of action that time, and Ellsworth eventually ended up with the ball.
And Ed did very well to stay posted in his seat.
Well, he wasn't in his seat. He was up.
He's 6'5" anyway, so. Fox, bounce pass, and it's, they're going to call it technical. And the reason for that is they're claiming that Bell reached in while that Fox was trying to pass the ball inbound, which is in the rule book, which is a technical foul.
Tough call, Joe. I want to, if we get it again, I don't know if we're going to see it again, but you're absolutely right on your interpretation of the rule. But I thought Bell got the ball after it left the player's hands, and it was on inside of the court.
Scott's shot is good, Tim Scott. He makes it 29-24, and they'll have the ball out. So that's the first time we've seen it called this year. I know it has been called. It was called in the Searsport-Baps game in Searsport, and John Baps lost that game because of that call. But it's a proper call. But I think you may be right. I think the ball was out of his hand when he let it go before Bell got a hold of it.
I thought it was across the orange line.
And that's the orange line we talked about prior to the game. Taylor's going to go regardless of who's there. He falls down, and he is playing out of control. Coming down is Bell. Bell off to Bailey. Skip pass comes and goes out of bounds, and it's going to go the other way as Marc Haines went up a little bit for it and then decided not to go after it and went out of bounds, and no one from Ellsworth touched it.
First time in the game that we've seen Dexter a little bit rattled, and Ellsworth will see if they can take advantage of it, and Jeff Smith looks like he's going to come back in the basketball game.
Tim Scott with the ball. The straightaway, no good. Rebound comes back to him. He spins in the lane. Going to take the off-balance shot. It goes in, and he's fouled.
Nice play, nice lean in there. Great follow by Timmy Scott as he missed his first jump shot, followed it, and then did a spin move into the lane, drew the contact, and went up and got the shot. Edgecombe comes back into the game for Dexter.
And Kevaney goes out. And to counter with Ellsworth, we have back Jeff Smith, who has such a fine first half for Ellsworth. Tim Scott, possible three is no good. Tip off by Fox is no good. Boy, he went high in the air to tip that one. A long tip, too. Goes to Bailey. Bailey somehow was able to gain that baseline with his drive. You can see the double team on Mike Haines. Now Edgecombe crosses in. Marc Haines fires no good. Nice rebound. Big by Edgecombe. Up and down.
Great play by Edgecombe. He was cruising on the baseline and came up with that loose ball and put it back in. 31-26, Dexter.
Well, Dexter, the Eastern Maine champion of a year ago, playing like that, but leading by a scant 5 here in third quarter action.
Showing a lot of poise, Joe, because Ellsworth was making a run at them.
Nice pass by Ryan David. It was right in the hands of Bailey, who goes far right the whole length of court and puts it in.
Super play by Bailey because he just put it in overdrive when he went by 40 on the long push dribble to get himself free.
7-point lead as Smith comes down with it. In a maze of white shirts. Now goes out to Forney. And Bruce Lindbergh wants timeout. That time David was under the basket, knew he couldn't make the shot, kicked it out, but there was Bailey, and he went, as you said, in overdrive, fluid drive, or whatever drive, and put it in for 2.
Right idea by David to get the ball back out of there because the Dexter defense had collapsed in the lane, but there was Bailey just lurking behind Forney, stepped in and made the steal. And what I meant by the push dribble was the second dribble that he had was a dribble that he pushed the ball way out in front of him and then chased it. And that allowed him to get into that overdrive, as I mentioned. But here we are, 33-26, and Dexter has assumed control and have withstood the challenge by Ellsworth about a minute and a half ago.
Well, it's only a 7-point difference, but the Dexter Tigers, as you mentioned, have been pretty much in control with 2:43 left. And I think basically it's that team concept again, and they don't get rattled. They know people are in their positions, and they know if they're open, they're going to get the ball.
One thing that hasn't been said about Dexter, and I'll say it now, is that team plays within their abilities and their talents. And they don't try to do anything that is not within their abilities or their talents. And I think that's a tribute to Ed Gursky to recognize that and to drill that into the kids and say, hey, you can only do so much and don't try to do too much more. And Dexter does that very, very well.
As Ellsworth will inbound the ball to the left of the basket. As the referees, I would say very safely, have had this game under control. Forney.
Interesting choice of officials by Peter Webb with 2 Aroostook County officials battling 2 local teams.
Edgecombe is being fouled by Smith in his frustration with the pass. Edgecombe is the tall youngster, 6'3". And I think that, as we've mentioned, talking with Pete Webb during the quarterfinals, there is a skull session before the games. They do know the teams. There's nobody's fools out there. They're saying, hey, this is the type of team that Ellsworth is, the type of team that Dexter is. You've got to watch out. There's going to be some things happening. This is what you've got to prepare yourself for.
Right. There is a preparation period by Peter Webb, the assistant commissioner, as he assigns these officials. And he's seen a lot of these teams, a lot of these coaches over the years, and knows their styles and tries to help those officials out when they get in that potential situation.
Now Dexter counters with 6'3" Rick Robichaud. He's number 52 under the basket now, being pushed out of there by Taylor at this point. Bell with the ball.
Dexter has a good-sized team in there.
And the quick hands again, 40. So they are trying every thing in the book to get that ball loose, and the officials have got to be very, very quick. Might mention who they are again.
Yeah, the officials are Roger Shaw from Mars Hill and Rick Lyons from Presque Isle.
And Lyons is the one handing the ball off right now?
Correct.
I think that is Rick Lyons.
Yes.
Way out deep by the time stripe is Bailey off to Edgecombe. Edgecombe turns with 2:12 left. Inside, Robichaud. Beautiful swipe that time, and a volleyball save by Lyon David.
Excellent play, because Lyon David was playing the point out above the foul lane area and then went down and swatted that ball away from the backside. Great play.
That would have gone over an 8-foot net in volleyball for a spike. Edgecombe out deep now for the Dexter Tigers, off to Bell. Bell playing this entire game with that gimpy nice pass inside to Marc Haines, as he just kind of turns and an Ellsworth player down,
Timmy
and it
Scott.
looks like his right knee.
Looks like Timmy Scott. He came flying out of the picture there. I didn't see what happened to him, but he went down very, very hard. There's Timmy right now, grimacing in pain, as Bruce Lindbergh is just going to see him in your picture momentarily. There he is. Oh, there he is. He fell over David right there, lost his balance, and David was trying to regain his and just collided with Timmy, and he went down very, very hard on the baseline. Wes Jordan has his left knee right there at the bottom of your picture, and there's Lyon right there. David standing over Timmy Scott.
Now it's up to the officials, when there is an injury on the playing surface, for them to beckon in the official, the coach. And sometimes they don't do that right off. I think that the coach should be able to come out immediately if, no matter what type of injury it may be. But Wes Jordan is there, and he's had enough experience with these type things, and he's helping Tim Scott over to the sidelines.
Right. I think what the coaches would like to do, though, is protect the timeout. the officials like to protect the timeout for the coach, and, if they have to, they don't substitute for him, then he's got to get a timeout. So a charge timeout. Timmy's going out, and it looks like Wes is going to his kit and probably put some ice on it. Yeah, he's getting out that plastic bag right there.
There's a pass by Forney, goes inside to Bell. He scoops it on the ground to Robichaud, and Taylor may pick up his second technical foul as he jumped up in the air, and now he's coming out of the game. So it appears that Bruce Lindbergh has had problems with that all year, the way that Taylor is jumping up and down.
Oh, but what a play by Steve Bell down on the floor. He just went after the basketball against Forney, reached out, stretched out, and made a pass back, and then there was Taylor on the foul, and he picks up his fourth foul. But what a play by Stevie Bell.
As Smith comes back in the game for Taylor as he goes out. And there's a travel violation called on Bailey, and he says, what?
He said, I didn't move my pivot foot, ref. What are you talking about? You didn't see that.
Cavani will come back in for Dexter. Dexter leading 35-25, 26 rather, a 9-point advantage. Lyon David turns on Robichaud, and they're going to call him on a player control.
There's that weak side help. That time Marc Haines came over to give Robichaud some help. David beat him on the baseline. Here it comes right here. Watch David. Here's the drop step. He gets by Robichaud. There's Marc Haines. Bang. There's the collision, and they call the player control foul on Lyon David. That's his third foul.
You may go to Mohammed, but you don't move Mohammed. As the Haines boys, with an illustrious career at Dexter High School, capping off in a fine basketball game so far. Certainly anyone's ball game, because the Ellsworth Eagles, in a 5-second call on Edgecombe, are capable of burning those nets up in rapid fire.
Timmy Scott comes back in, replacing number 14, who's Jimmy Springer. So Timmy looks like he's all right, Joe, as he comes back in the basketball game. But there's a turnover right there that Ellsworth wants. The 5-second call caused by good defense, aggressive defense by Forney on Edgecombe that time.
Forney tried to set a dribble, and he just could not get past Cavani. Now it goes off to Marc Haines. The pop is no good. Rebound strong by Fox of Ellsworth. He starts down. Nice lead pass to Scott. Scott puts it up. No good. Rebound by Bell, and Scott is fouling, or I guess it was Smith.
Smith, yeah.
But what a pass that time by Fox.
Great pass by Fox to see the man ahead of him. And there's Timmy. Here comes Timmy. He's trying to protect himself, and he kind of lost his concentration. And there's the foul right there by Smith on the rebound against Bell. As Bell's going to go to the line for Dexter, up 35-26 with 50 seconds to go in the third period.
Well, coming into this game, I think myself anyway, I felt that it was an Ellsworth team that could be able to pull this out because of their ability to have so many good outside shooters. But as you mentioned and alluded to right along here in the 3 periods, it's that tempo that Dexter has taken away from them and toned them down. Just like that layup miss, probably any other time, Scott would have had it.
But the key to the game so far for Dexter has been their half-court defense, their man-to-man defense, which has kept Ellsworth away from the basket.
Kevany, who is a lot taller than Forney, is on Forney. And last time forced a turnover. Smith now right at the foul line, and a pass kind of muffed by Scott and picked up by the alert Dexter Tigers again. Bell coming right down in control. Off to Marc Haines. Now Kevany as they set up again. A lot of patience in this offense, and much to the glee of their crowd across the way as they're all standing.
Ed Gursky's just signaled one shot.
It just sounded like a whistle had blown as Bell looked at the official, but some of the high-pitched, we've heard a lot of high-pitched whistles in this auditorium. 11 seconds remaining. 37-26. Smith goes to the steal. Bell in the lane. Bounce pass. Gets it back. Leon David knocks it away. The shot is missed. Tipped around, and we're going to end the quarter with a long throw down. And one of the cameramen muffs it. And the score is 37-26 at the end of 3 in favor of Dexter. And we'll be back in just a moment.
To basketball. It's also vital to producing good television, the kind of TV you need and appreciate. We'd like you to join the team of MPBN members by sending your check for $30 to Basketball, MPBN, Box 1986, Bangor, Maine 04401. We'll send you in return an MPBN mug and the monthly program guide air date. By joining our team, you'll help ensure that these high school basketball tournament games will remain an annual tradition on MPBN television. Make that $30 check payable to MPBN and send it to Basketball, MPBN, Box 1986, Bangor, Maine 04401, 1986. You're watching high school basketball tournament action on the stations of the Maine Public Broadcasting Network, a service of the University of Maine.
Here we are back at the auditorium. 8 minutes to go. 37-26 in favor of Dexter, and they got the arrow for the possession to open the fourth quarter. Joe, take it away.
Dexter outscored Ellsworth 14-7 in that quarter. They've led all this game at the quarter max, 8-6, 23-19. And now as we start the fourth period, 37-26 to make that 39 as Edgecombe puts one in. And a little more pressure now on the backcourt and Forney. Off to Tim Scott. Tim fakes, goes in the lane, scoop shot, good.
Nice play by Timmy as he's trying to haul Ellsworth back into this basketball game. Great drive toward the middle. And here comes Darren Taylor's coming back in, and number 15 is Smith, and he's going out. So Dexter's coming back with their starters, Joe, here as we go down the stretch.
11-point lead, 7:34. Bell, the general quarterback for this Dexter team. Now to Edgecombe. Edgecombe turns. They do the very, very fundamental basic things well. Talking about the pivots, just like that. Bell not out of control. He takes the shot and he draws a foul, and Taylor again starts to wander down the other end, and he may be coming out of the game again. I think that was his fifth.
All right, he's got 5 fouls. He's just so frustrated. Poor Darren Taylor. You can see him with his head in his hands there on the Ellsworth bench, but it was Bell again coming around the defense and getting into the lane and got fouled from behind by Darren Taylor.
They have just choked off anything that Ellsworth has tried to do. Somebody has been there. And the Haines boys in there now with Kevany, Edgecombe, and Bell on the line. But Dexter, the shot is good. And that caps it to 40-28.
One thing we haven't mentioned, Joe, and I think it's time to mention it now, Dexter has some tremendous athletes. And when you talk about athletes, all-around athletes, you're talking about kids who have good sound bodies and good strength and good athletic minds, and that's what Dexter is holding on to right now as they go down the stretch.
Shot by Fox in the corner, off no good. Rebound by Edgecombe. The ball is battled for, and a tie-up's going to be called, and it'll go to Ellsworth.
Ellsworth possession.
As the indicator pointing down the Ellsworth basket. Now after the pass comes in, that indicator will change the other end, so they'll keep track of it. Pass goes off to Tim Scott. Long outside shot. He rings it. 40-30 now. 10 points with 7 minutes left in this game. Edgecombe. Pass comes off to Marc Haines. Edgecombe out deep. Now to Bell. Bell turns with 3 after him, and there's Scott reaching in. And quickly the officials, I think, have been right there on the play.
Right. The Ellsworth's style of play has not lent itself very well to the way the game is being called. And we're not saying the officials are calling a bad game. They're just calling it very, very close right now. And that's not to Ellsworth's advantage because they're always picking and clawing at the basketball to try to create that steal.
And this was some of the pregame plan, is what to watch for. Shot off the lid, no good. Tim Scott comes off with it. He starts down, still dribbling. Marc Haines at the foul line of Scott. He rings another one. 40-32, and that's what I mentioned. That's what they're able to do. They're able to come back with that type of shooting.
They're able to come back, and they're able to come back very quickly because this game that they play is a game of spurts.
Mike Haines, Kevaney. Kevaney takes the timeout. Ed Gursky wants to talk this over as Bailey gets ready to come back in the game for Dexter.
Great control timeout that time by Ed Gursky as he wants to settle his kids down. Ellsworth has made 4 straight points here to cut the lead to 8 with 6:29 left to go here in the 4th quarter, and he just wants to settle his kids down and let them know what he wants defensively and offensively.
As in this period, the Ellsworth Eagles have outscored Dexter by 6-3. They trail by 8. Scott has made the last 2. And tonight, we'll be back again with Class B semifinal action in both boys and girls. And Bob, we'll have the Holton-Rockland game, and that's going to be a fine game too. It matches up to be a fine game.
Right. Holton came in here seeded #1 and went up against McDormick Valley, their first appearance in the Eastern Maine tournament, been perennial contenders in the West, and had to go to 3 overtimes to do it, but they come out with the victory. Rockland, on the other hand, a good Eastern Maine B team with some tournament experience. The Rockland Tigers ought to be a great matchup.
But right here, we've got 6:29 left in 4th quarter action of the game, an 8-point difference as Dexter hanging on to a slim edge. Bell starts to drive. Marc Haines pop is good.
Great pass that time. Across the lane, and Marc Haines just banged in the soft jump shot.
Nice jump shot from the baseline. Forney now with Bailey on him. Starts down toward the lane. Now rifles the pass to Smith. The pop is no good, and a player control foul call.
There's Dexter again with great position underneath the basket. Smith coming across the baseline, trying to make that. There it is, right? We just saw the end of it, and Smith crashes into one of the Haines twins, and down he goes, and it's Dexter's ball.
And you do not move Muhammad either side, as they will take that shot and sometimes come out of it as a winner. Need to play a control foul. Smith has his 3rd personal foul. Edgecombe double team, but it goes off to Bailey. Bailey dabbling with that layup, that 10-second stripe. Bell goes the lane, the pop up around, no good. Rebound tip. Edgecombe was there off the glass.
Great rebound, offensive rebound by Edgecombe, Joe, as he just picked it out of midair and then went up with a bank shot in the lane for 2.
Fox now tries to get a pass over to a Scott, but deflected away. Lion David is there to retrieve. Forney now looking. They've got to make up some points here. They now find themselves down by 12, 44-32. Scott in the lane on a drip, no good. Rebound tipped up, no good. Scott on the rebound. Are you going to be fouling? No, it's going to go the other way as Scott kind of pushes it off the glass.
Right, foul was on Mike Haines on the rebounding action. Replay. Want to look at it here in the replay. We're going to see Timmy Scott here for Ellsworth. There it is. There's the shot. There's the tip. And there is the foul. Sorry, the foul was on Bell.
Bell, right. And that's his 2nd. It's all right. You don't have to apologize to me today. Well, with that Sterling Class B Old Town swim victory, huh?
Oh, great. State champions 2 years in a row now for the Old Town Indians swim team.
Nice outside shot by Forney, making it 44-34. 5:14 remaining in this game. Bell starts down with it on the dribble. Ball knocked away, picked up by Smith. Smith's going to go back. Smith's going to scoop it off and then inside, knocked away. from Scott, and the ball goes out of bounds. And there you saw the quick hands of Mike Haines.
Great hands in there that time, and Timmy Scott lost control of it. It was tipped out of bounds by Mike Haines, and Ellsworth retains possession. Still only 10, Joe, with 5:03. A lot of time left. That's only 5 baskets.
Forney now pass inside to David. Hook shot off the lip and in.
Gets the roll. Nice hook shot by Lion David off the right baseline.
44-36. 4:53 remaining. Coming down with it is Edgecombe. Now to Bailey. The 2 ball handlers in there now for Dexter, Bailey and Bell. Now Edgecombe, they're kind of leaving Edgecombe alone. He is a good shooter. Fake and a move by Marc Haines. No good. Rebound tipped out. Controlled by Lion David behind the back. He steps down. Look out. He puts it up and no good. As the ball is knocked away and picked up by Edgecombe. And both teams a little bit out of control. The quick hands of Scott. The pass is Scott. There goes the layup. Puts it in.
Nice play by Ellsworth. There they're coming back. And he wants a timeout. Ed Gursky wants a timeout. Was not very happy with that last sequence of events and calls a timeout for Dexter. 44-38. Ellsworth is making their patented run at Dexter here with 4:19 left to go in the 4th quarter. They have really upped the tempo considerably, and the defensive pressure all over the court now, Joe. And your point about nobody guarding Edgecombe is absolutely correct, because that frees up Timmy Scott to wander around and help out and double team wherever he can. You'll notice whenever a Dexter player turns his back to the middle of the court and starts the dribble, Timmy Scott will go after him, and that means that Edgecombe, who Timmy happens to be guarding at this particular time, is going to be open for a shot.
I think the other point to allude to, too, is when they do tip the ball away on the dribble, somehow the player for Ellsworth picks it up and then a quick pass to the basket. Not particularly to anybody, but somebody's going to get there. And that's what Scott did on the last play.
For Ellsworth, it's instinctive. If you get a tip and we get the ball, everybody run to the basket. And,
right, and the ball will get there.
The ball will get there. We'll get it to you. If you're open and you're ahead of the field, you can expect the basketball.
Kevin comes back in for this Dexter team. They lead with 4:19 remaining, 44-38. And for a first game, Robert, I think we've got a cocker here.
Things are heating up as Ellsworth turns on the pressure.
Now full court, there will go. It's Bell with the ball.
Now the different look.
There's the hands by Scott again, almost tipped it away. Kevin brings down. Scott thought that he traveled. He was yelling for a travel. Bell comes to Kevin. Scott's on him, and they're going to call a foul on Scott. Those quick hands. I see a little bit of Jack Scott in that, don't you?
Oh, yes, I certainly do. He's got all of the visual and body, physical proportions of his dad, Jack, and just a nice basketball player. Good player to watch.
Good size. Probably one of the tallest of the Scott family. He's 6'3" and only a sophomore. And all the basketball instinctiveness that you would need to be a great basketball player is right down there in the number 24.
Even he cans the first one, a big foul shot.
And the second drops in.
Gets the roll again.
46-38.
Interesting little maneuver now as Dexter comes out with about a little 3/4 man-to-man to slow Ellsworth down. Nice little move to run some time off the clock.
Straight away by Scott. He wings it. 46-40 now. 6-point difference. 3:50 remaining.
Different press now. Watch it come in.
And wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this one. Bailey does not want to take David on, so it goes back outside. Bell turns. Bell's now stopped. Knocked away by Scott's hand. Off to Fox. Off to Smith. Smith's going to go the lane. Puts it in.
There it is again. Another fast break by Ellsworth as they climb right back into this game. 46-42 with 3:30 left. Excellent play and steal that time and execution on the fast break.
Scott's hands was the difference down at the other end. Down, Smith after him from Ellsworth, Bell, and Bell is fouling.
There's another foul.
So that's one thing they can't. They're stealing the ball and getting basket, but coming down the next time and fouling, and that's what they can't do.
Right, they've got to be very, very careful of that. There's plenty of time left. They're only down 4. They don't need the fouls right now. What they do need is good defensive sequence in the half court to force Dexter to take a bad shot or make a bad pass.
Darren Taylor cannot win. He's fouled out of the game now. The official's gone over and told the coach stop him from waving the towel. And so he threw the towel down. The foul shot is up by Bell. Good. Kevin hit on 2 before. Now Bell hits on his first. So he'll get the bonus. And foul shots so important when you come down the line like this.
Just critical. Foul shooting is just critical at this juncture in the game.
47-42. He hits a pair. Bell, that is. 48-42. As Tim Scott with the ball. Guard by Marc Haines. He's going to send up a long right hand, and he brings it again.
He's got it. He's got it going now. Timmy has. Here comes Dexter.
4 points, and a pass to Bell to Kevaney is out of bounds.
Tough pass right at Kevaney's feet. Bounced off him out of bounds, and Ellsworth's going to retain possession. 48-44, 3:12 left to go.
Ellsworth had trailed just about all this ball game, but now making a big rush at the end of it with one of their starters fouled out. Scott again takes the pop shot off the glass, and he's hit 3 in a row.
Timmy Scott coming on strong. Let's watch the pressure now.
48-46 with 3 minutes left in this game. Kevaney now see if Ellsworth fouls. Inside to Mike Haines. Mike's turns. Mike's hemmed in, so he gets back outside to Kevaney. Kevaney turns. Kevaney just takes the pop shot from the baseline. A clutch basket by Kevaney.
Nice move by Kevaney as he did a spin dribble back into the baseline and lost his man.
Long outside shot by Scott. No good. He finally misses one. But 3 for 4 is not too hectic, down with under 3 minutes.
In crunch time, it's tremendous.
Right side to Bailey. Bailey with the ball. Dribbles on 40. Now goes back outside to Bell of Dexter. Dexter leading 50-46. If you're with us, 2:25 in the lane. The pop up good.
Off the glass. Off the glass by Bell. A runner in the lane. Tough shot.
He got up off his feet that time. Kind of a floater, and off the glass and in. 52-46.
His ankle's all right now, Joe.
As David turns in, he puts a nice shot in. Leon David, 52-48. Are we thinking OT?
The intensity of this game right now, but both ends, is tremendous, and it's just a matter of who's going to last.
And the pass comes off to Bailey. Bailey stops back to Bell. Bell turns back down the lane. Bell's going to go. A nice defensive play. No, they call a foul on David.
Bell took it to the basket, and David just reached in. Looks like Bruce Lindbergh is up, wants a timeout. Here's a replay. There's just the end of it. You saw David just get him on the back of the head. The call of foul. 2 shots, 52-48. Minute 52 left to go in the fourth quarter. So there's Darren Taylor out. Okay, we're going to take a look at that again. Here it comes right here. There's Bell at the top of the key. Sees an opening, goes to the left hand. Here comes David right on the left arm. Hit him right on the left arm, and he gets 2 shots. He thought he had the ball, but he had the left arm.
So Mr. Bell is taking over as he starts to drive that lane. He sees an opening, but he's going into it structurally. He's not going hello-skelter out of control, and he's doing the biggest thing. He's drawing the foul.
Right now, we're looking at a 4-point Dexter lead, and it's going to be critical with these foul shots for Bell. If he makes them, then they're down 6, and that's going to change the complexion of the game dramatically. If he doesn't miss them, and they're still down 4, then they can just play a good half-court game, and whoever's going to play the best defense down the stretch now is going to win. But these foul shots are very, very critical. I didn't mean to allude earlier that foul shooting was not that important at the beginning of the game, but at the end of the game, they're more visible, and so therefore it makes it more critical.
Right. Leon David picked up his 4th personal foul, so keep that in mind with 1:52 left. Bell, who has been so good for so many years with his Dexter team, football, baseball, and basketball, has been the general today, and he'll step the line. That left ankle evidently is healed. The shot is up and good. Very clean.
Make no mistake about that one. That was dead in.
And both teams now know what they have to do, as both respective coaches have told them this is what's going to happen, guys, if they make it. As Bob has mentioned, the second shot is up and good.
He's got 2 of them. Now they're up 6.
Yeah, right down the lane here with 6 foul shots, 2 by Kevaney and 4 by Bell. 54-48, 6-point lead, 1:47 remaining. Forney with the ball now. Bounces in the middle to Scott. He's had the hot hand. He turns. He's going to bang it away, and he hits.
He hits it again. Excellent.
4 out of 5.
Oh, great shooting by Timmy Scott. Great
and
performance.
A steal by Smith, but it goes out of bounds.
Can't get complacent. You can't get lazy now. You've really, now we got some game slippage because of the pressure, and everybody's got to really up the tempo.
Bell with a hard part of getting the ball in. Now finally goes to Bailey. They call 5 seconds on him.
A long pass.
A turnover.
Right. The long pass generally does that. If you can hold the man for 2 seconds and then he force him to throw a long pass, either cross court or down court, just sometimes you get the 5-second call, and that's what happened.
Forney now back to Scott with the hot hands. Tim turns. He's double teamed. Now way outside to Forney. 1:28 left. 54-50 is the game score right now. Hook pass goes to Forney. He controls it. Now back to Smith. Smith starts to turn. Back to Scott. Goodbye. Back! And another one. Another one from outside. 5 out of 6. 54-52. Bell gets it in. Smith will challenge him now in the backcourt. Bell brings down. 1:08 remaining. Scott goes for the steal. Kevaney is open now. He holds the ball, now goes out. Scott's on him. Those quick hands. Bell turns. 2-point difference and another foul. So the thing is now that Bell's doing the ball handling, Bob, and they're fouling him, and he's made 4 in a row.
Right, and that was not a very good choice of a foul, because they're only down 2 points, and they don't need to foul. They were running the clock. They're in pretty good position. They're only 2 points, and I think it was a little bit too early to go after the ball.
And our second player is fouled out of the game. That's Jeff Smith, and coming in is Springer. And Springer was used in that Mount Desert game. He had a very fine game. So he's a veteran basketball player, even though that he's a junior. He'll be back next year. Yes, but a very fine basketball player.
Right, Joe, and he played pretty well in that MDI game, and he had a little playing time in the first half. But here we are again, Bell on the line for 2 big free throws.
So how many times can you go to the well? That's Bell. How's that?
Just send me there, he said. The way he's shooting, he said, just give me the basketball, let him foul me.
55-52, so we could have a 4-point difference here if we could make this one with 57 seconds remaining.
Dexter looked a little confused the last time on defense, and let's see if they, because Scott was making those outside shots, let's see if they go back to man-to-man.
8 foul shots in a row by the Dexter Tigers.
There's Mr. Haines on Scott.
Now it goes to Fox. Fox long is an air ball. Taken off by Kevin. 47 seconds left. 4-point difference. As Springer comes up on Bell. Bell through the legs over the 10-second line. Stops. In the middle goes to Marc Haines. They're putting it back to Bell as they move the ball.
They're putting it away, Joe. They're not even going to try to go to the basket anymore.
And there's going to be a 2-shot foul there. As Fox came out hard on Marc Haines. So the Dexter Tigers have gone to the line on 4 occasions for 1-on-1 and have connected on 8 shots.
Right, Bruce Lindbergh wanted the 1-on-1 that time. He thought Fox was going after the ball. Here's the replay right here. There's the ball up high. Watch the cut to the post now. Here's the post pass right here. He's going at it, but he's got his left hand on it. Okay, he wasn't over the side of him, and he misses the first one.
Marc Haines misses, but they'll get another shot.
This is why the 2-shot foul was very critical right here.
As he looks up the basket, the deep knee bend, the shot is good. So they've made 9 out of 10. And the pass goes out to Scott with 32 seconds left, down by 5. Scott on the baseline. Scott's going to take the off-balance shot off the glass, gets his rebound, spins in the lane, puts it up and in.
Great hustle play by Timmy Scott.
Pass goes to Kevany. Kevany now off to Bell. Triple team. Bell off to Bailey. 18 seconds left. 3-point difference. Bailey comes down, and let's see, there'll be another 2-shot foul coming up on Springer.
One thing that Bell does too that hasn't been mentioned, yes, the 2-shot foul call, is that Bell makes himself available to the basketball. There's Bruce Lindbergh and Peter Wally, his assistant, on the bench. Really concerned now, down 57-54 to Dexter Tigers with 15 seconds left, and Bailey on the line for 2.
Bailey, a good foul shooter as well, puts it up and in.
The 2-shot concept just psychologically takes a lot of pressure off of the kid. Rather than the 1-on-1, and that's why you've got to make sure you get the 1-on-1 call.
Second shot is good, and they've made 11 out of 12 foul shots right down the row here. As Tim Scott's going to push up another right-hander, and he puts it in again.
Timmy Scott has put on a show here in the 4th quarter.
And no one calls timeout. Long pass. The Haines boys will cap it off, and he misses the foul shot, but I mean the layup, but it's only academic. As the final score goes 59-56. And probably one of the better semifinal games I think we've had the pleasure to do, Bob.
What an opening game, and there goes Bruce Lindbergh down to congratulate S. Kursky, the gentleman that he is. Heartbroken, I'm sure, as his Ellsworth Eagles as they came in here 17-1. And the Dexter Tigers lining up now. There they are, getting ready to shake hands with Ellsworth, the traditional handshake at the end of the basketball game. Timmy Scott put on a show in the 4th quarter. There's Timmy going through your picture right now. That was just incredible, making those field goals from all over the basketball court. And we're going to go down right now to Billy McManus, who has Ed Gursky for an interview. Bill?
Thank you very much, Bob. Ed, congratulations. Nice ball game.
Well, thank you. Right now, my feeling is to go over and shake the kids that play defense and shake their hands, because they played a whale of a defensive game.
Your kids played well. One of the comments we've been talking about, Rusty Clukey and also Bruce Lindbergh said about your ball players, Ed, that they're great athletes, that they're all-around athletes.
Most of them are in 2 or 3 sport teams, and they work hard year-round. They love to play. But not only that, but the 5 starters are on the National Honor Society. And sometimes when you get kids like that, practices get a little dull because you don't have to tell and repeat over and over again, so they pick things up very, very quick. That's a big key, so along with being good athletes. Yes, you're right.
Ed, your half-court defense seemed to be a little bit stifling from Ellsworth with the handle. Your kids played real good on the half-court.
Well, before we came into this ball game, I was really worried about their potent and explosive offense. And when I looked up at the board and saw how many points they had, I just couldn't believe it. I know they shot poorly in the first half. They got in foul trouble. Scott showed what kind of a ball player he is the second half when he brought him into the ball game with his nice shots, and he kept them under control. Yeah, I was surprised that we held them that low.
Ed, congratulations to you. We'll see you in the Eastern Maine Final.
Okay, thank you.
Bob?
Okay, Billy, thank you very much. Tonight's ball games, of course, we'll be back with more B action as the Holton girls are in and the Holton boys. Holton will play against the Rockland Tigers. And we had a real fine ball game here this afternoon. Dexter led 8-6 at the end of the first period, 23-19 at half, 37-26 at the end of 3, and win it 59-56. This is Joe Gould for Bob Leahy and for Bill McManus, and have a pleasant good afternoon.
Of the Eastern Maine semifinals and finals on MPBN is made possible by grants from Husson College. Tomorrow's leaders are at Husson today. N.H. Bragg & Sons, distributors of automotive parts and industrial supplies. The Bangor Daily News, the main choice. Mr. Paperback, with 15 bookstores statewide. And Union Trust Company, part of the Down East tradition since 1887.
This is the Maine Public Broadcasting Network, a service of the University of Maine.
We now join our regularly scheduled program, already in progress.